Hi, this is Pat Duckworth, a hot woman with cool solutions and the author of the #1 international best-selling book, Hot Women Rock. And to celebrate the launch of the audiobook version of Hot Women Rock, How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo, I'm talking to the co-authors who shared their stories of their entrepreneurial journeys. And today I'm talking to the lovely Deborah Granville. And Deborah has been a singer, a lawyer, a not-for-profit professional, and now she's an author and a blogger. Her first book, Fabulous Functions for the Faint-Hearted, and I do have my copy, draws on her many years of event management while she was in the charity sector. And it's a simple guide to all events you're likely to have to plan during your life. Those weddings, the funerals, those special birthday parties, they're all in there, everything in between. And now she's working on her second book, a detective novel. Ooh, let's find out more about that. And she also blogs at deborahgranville.com. So without further ado, let's meet her. Hi, Deborah, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very well, Pat, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good, yeah, and it's such a pleasure to be able to chat with you because Deborah and I met at networking. So we've had a few times when we've been able to meet face to face, but other than that, it's just whatever time you can get to talk with people that you really enjoy chatting with. So Deborah, you've had quite a mixed career. Tell us a bit about your backstory before you made the next leap.
Okay. So I am a child of parents who were in showbiz. So my mother was an actress. She'd been an actress since the age of 16. And my father was, well, he was a bit he did lots of different things. He didn't really have much of an education. He'd come over from Germany in 1939, his education being interrupted. But anyway, he was smitten with showbiz. And when he met my mum, he was playing the bongos, where she was the leading actress, and they met, and Mum had been married before, but anyway, they got together and they had me pretty quickly. And unfortunately, they weren't able to have any more children. My mother couldn't have any more children. So I grew up in this house as an only child, surrounded by actors and actresses and directors and producers, and that's the life that I started with. And also, yeah, my grandmother had been an opera singer as well. So, you know, there was music, there was acting, but there was nobody with a, you know, proper job. Everybody was self-employed and doing their passion. They were living the dream, if you like, because that's what they loved to do. My father went on to be a producer, actually, and produced some plays in the West End and that sort of thing. So they were living the dream. That was all they'd ever wanted to do. That was their vocation, which is a fantastic thing. And to be able to you know, live your life like that and make money from it. But although I loved being around it, and I could sing a bit, my dad gave me his old Grundig tape recorder, which was, you know, one of those big old reel-to-reel things with a little tiny mic. And because I was such a massive fan of, what's it called? Eurovision. I was a massive fan of Eurovision, I know. But that was back in the day. That was long before there was any Terry Wogan or anything. In fact, it was Katie Boyle. Gosh,
I remember her.
Back to me. Who used to speak all these different languages, and she used to host it or, you know, do the voiceovers and stuff. Anyway, so I used to listen to that and I'd tape it and then I'd kind of sing over it and record myself, you know, singing over it. So I was really into singing a lot. I loved it. Acting, I don't know, I didn't really do any acting, although my mother did once put me forward for, actually, I can't believe she did this, for the role of Juliet in the Franco Zeffirelli production, Romeo and Juliet, when I was 13. Of course, it went to this beautiful, talented actress, Olivia something, forgotten her name, absolutely
Hussey, Olivia Hussey.
Yeah, Hussey, exactly, Olivia Hussey, that's right.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it was a great film. It was, you know, I think it was the first time that Romeo and Juliet were actually as young as they should be in the play. But anyway, so, you know, that was really the extent of it. And at one time, I think I said to my mum, I want to go to stage school. And she said, oh, absolutely not. So I didn't have this sort of massive kind of vocation, really. I mean, I think singing did take a hold of me, but I think I kind of knew that I was never going to be that great at it. But anyway, through my life, so I didn't go to university. I wasn't really very good at school. I, didn't really work hard and was a bit sort of, wasn't a happy teenager really. I was fat and spotty and had sticky out ears and very thick glasses and terrible teeth and dandruff and, all the ghastliness. And I didn't work hard, as I say. So although I did I got one A level at that point. So I did leave school with an A level. But it took me a long time to start. Oh, yes, and sorry, one other very important thing was when I was 16, my mum, because she kind of realised I didn't really know what I was going to do in life, she sent me to this sort of vocational, I've forgotten what it was called, but it was one of those things that one of those sort of tests that suggest to you what career path you might take. And it was, the analysis was, I should do anything to do with the word, written or spoken. I sort of forgot about it, and I've only come back to it recently and thought, actually, that was spot on, because I think what I took away from it wasn't so much that was, he was suggesting various things I could do, because I said, I don't want to go to university, so he was kind of a bit limited in what he could suggest. But anyway, I thought that was a really interesting thing, and I have now carried that to its logical conclusion, I guess.
But there were a few stops along the way, weren't there? I mean, you've done so many things.
I have, yes, I have. And actually, the interesting thing is the word written or spoken has actually kind of been what I've done, even with the singing, which I went on to do a bit later. I mean, okay, that was the word sung, if you like, but, it was interpreting words. So I did eventually start a singing career, but before that I was doing lots of sort of admin things, because in those days it was so easy to walk into a job. If you could speak well, and okay, so I was a bit posh. My mother was very posh. She was, in fact, she spoke a bit like this. If you go back to the sort of films of the 60s, she'd say, pronounce the name Frank as Frank, Okay, she was quite posh. She got slightly less posh as the time went on. So I guess I did speak well, and I was, I guess, personable, and I could speak English well, and I could write English well. So I was able to walk into all sorts of jobs, including working for a private detective agency.
Wow.
Which again, we can kind of come back to later. But so that was, it was very interesting. So I could walk into these jobs, and it was actually while I was at the private detective agency, I decided to actually take the plunge and go and try and be a professional singer. So I did that for quite a few years. So fast forward to the age of 30, and I got pregnant. I had my daughter, and I had to give up singing, really. I wasn't going to be lugging around, because I was in covers bands. I was logging around PA equipment and amps and stuff, and that wasn't going to happen. And I realised that I was never going to make it anyway. I was okay, but I wasn't brilliant. So gave that up, had my daughter, and then thought, oh gosh, what am I going to do? Because, as I say, I hadn't been to university. So I thought, well, okay, I'm going to go back and get this English A-level that I had failed miserably. My mother was horrified, as you can imagine, being a sort of proponent of Shakespeare, that I'd failed English literature A-level. Not the language, but the literature. So I thought, I know I could pass it. I'm not that stupid. I know I could do it. So I went back to college, to a local college, and did A-level English, and passed in a year with an A, which I was just so delighted about. I can't tell you. And I thought about trying to go to university, so I looked around. Anyway, the upshot was I was able to go. I found it was a part of London University. It's a college that doesn't exist anymore because it merged with Queen Mary, so it was known for a while as Queen Mary in Westfield. But the campus was in Hampstead, so it was close by. I could leave the kids with childcare. I could go to uni. Occasionally, I had to take them with me. Actually, I ended up doing a French degree because my old school was French, and I'd done French A-level, so I knew I could speak it well. And they let me off the year abroad, which was good. My French was good enough, thank the Lord. I decided to do law. So I did a law conversion course, and then went to do the bar course. And again, of course, that's a lot about words. So the words thing was definitely being carried forward here. And really loved it. Well, found the conversion course very, very difficult, actually really hard to get my head around it all. But loved the bar course, very, very interesting. Although I did find, standing up to examine and cross-examine people just not in a court setting, but in the college setting, really nerve-wracking. That was partly why I wanted to do it, because at this point I think I was trying to challenge myself all the time to do things that I didn't think I could do. So I got my qualification and started to do a pupillage, which is, when you're a sort of trainee barrister, but found that really difficult to manage with children because my kids were about 8 and 10 by then. It was too difficult, really, which is a really full-on job. You've got to, trail your pupil master or mistress around. You've got to be taking notes. You've got to be ready to, to go and do a bail application at a moment's notice and this kind of thing. It's very, very stressful. So I just realised actually I couldn't do it, and I gave up.
Yeah, so let's just fast forward then, Deborah, to where I met you, and you had just written your book about event planning, and you'd set up Des Events. But what I love about talking to the women entrepreneurs is that it's an ongoing story, so it never just stops there. The next thing happens. So tell me what's happened since then.
Okay, so after setting up Des Events and really enjoying it, but writing the book, because the book, I think, was such a, again, going back to the words thing, it was sort of bringing all my experience to bear in writing it, but also making me feel confident about the events business because, it was only a couple of years in, and I think writing the book helped me to focus on what I'm good at and what I enjoy doing. But then it made me think, gosh, I've actually written a book. Okay, it's not a massive book, but it is a book. It's in paper form. People can read it. It's a real book. And
so isn't it a wonderful moment when you see your book and you hold it in your hand and people can go onto Amazon and buy it? It's just a fabulous moment, isn't it?
It is. In fact, I was thinking today when I was looking at my blog that I've just started, I was looking back at my old Des Events website, and my favourite photo is at my book launch, which you were at, which someone took a photo of me, when I did my little speech, and I was holding up the copy of my book and the sort of my beaming smile, and that, it's just, I want to recreate that with this next book. I mean, that's what I'm looking for now. I definitely want to do that. I just felt so good, so good. It was such an achievement. So
fantastic. So this is Pat Duckworth, the author of Hot Women Rock, How to Discover Your Midlife Entrepreneurial Mojo. And today I'm talking to Deborah Granville. And Deborah, you've already talked a lot about your purpose in life and this whole thing around communicating and writing. Can you say how you're bringing that into what you do now?
Yes. For example, the book that I'm writing at the moment, the detective novel, I've always loved detective novels, from discovering Agatha Christie when I was about 13 and reading the entire set, well, not one sitting, but, quite quickly, to sort of later novels by American authors like Sarah Pretsky, feisty detective, women detectives. I really love that. So that's the kind of book that I'm aiming at, although my detective is going to be a woman, a hot woman, actually. That's the plan.
I love that.
But in terms of hot women, the other thing that I'm very passionate about and very involved with is the Women's Equality Party, which is a new party, non-partisan, which means it's not left, right or centre. It focuses solely on women's equality issues. And that has really excited me, and I'm so delighted to be involved with it. So I co-run my local branch where I live in Haringey and Barnet. So this sort of passion for words and communicating, I feel that I'm sort of, it's sort of encompassing my whole life, my whole sort of professional life and also what I do, aside from paid employment, really. So, the political stuff and the writing, it's all about communicating, really. And, for example, with the political stuff, it's about saying to men, actually, women's equality is better for you, as well as it's, better for us women. So communicating and, exciting people's passions is what I love to do, really.
And you seem to have had that all of your life. And I just wonder if you've got any tips or hints for women who go, I'm not sure what my passion is. I'm sure in networking, you've come across some of those women who are kind of lit up by your purpose and passion, but aren't sure what theirs is. Have you got any thoughts for them?
Yes, I think it's about thinking about what makes you happy. In fact, I remember the first time I did it, I was on a Greyhound bus age 20 in Canada, traveling to the States and thinking about what do I want to do when I get back. I'd been on a sort of, couple of months hole. And that's when I decided to pursue the singing career way back in the day. But I've done that again over time. And I think if you sit down and really think, what makes me happy? What do I love doing? It doesn't have to be a work thing. Do I want to be a size 10, or do I want to, live in a hot climate, or do I, what are the things that really make me happy? And if you can harness that, if you can think about what that is, I know I love talking, as you can probably tell. So if I could talk and get paid for it, that's it, I'm done. So I think that's what you really need to see if you can access within you, because you will find whatever it is that makes you happy. And if you're able to make money out of it, fantastic. I mean, if you can't make money at it all the time, then do something else part-time that brings in the money, but then do this thing as a volunteer to start with. I mean, I actually started in the charity sector as a volunteer, and I ended up working there for 15 years because I loved it. I found what I loved. So
it's a great tip, Deborah, is that tapping into the thing that lights you up. And when you're really lit up, other people respond to it. They want more of that because it just feels so good. So thank you for sharing that. So if anybody watching wants to find out more about you or to contact you, can you give us some links for how they can do that?
I can indeed. So my blog, which I've just started, is deborahgranville.com. So you can contact me via the blog. I've also got my book here, which, as I say, it's a really easy, simple guide to event planning for all the events that you're likely to encounter in your life. So you can find that on Amazon.
Hold it up. Let's see it.
There it is.
Yay!
Yes, just keep in touch if you want to via the blog. And once my new book is finished, obviously I'll be blogging about that and I'll be promoting it everywhere. And if you want to find out about the Women's Equality Party, we've got our own little Facebook page as well, so you can have a look at that.
Lovely. Thank you so much for being with me this morning, Deborah, and thank you for your contribution to Hot Women Rock. So pleased that you could write your story for that. And to everybody watching, thank you for watching this interview. I'm sure you'll have gained a lot from it. Keep watching as I interview all of the amazing women who gave me their stories for Hot Women Rock. Take care now. You're really welcome.